Scientific breakthroughs, the unveilings, spiritual revelations, the openings. One, two. First World Order Radio, Tips and Tricks Tuesdays. I'm Blak the META-MAJI-SHEN. It's Tips and Tricks Tuesday, another news day. North, east, west, south. Not here to confuse the day, just diffuse the way. Another Tips and Tricks Tuesday. That pig, that's fine. Hijacking the mind. Aluminum bonds with intelligence. Rewind the message. Merry Christmas. 13 indigenous immigrants. State of the unison. Addressing nothing. Foundations can ruin. Level to level. Fuck the embezzlements. Tales from the crypt. Hitting blood rituals. 50 scores flying over California vacation. Flying dragons. Swords and daggers. Lions and tigers. Gotta get my bearings or perish. Tap into raw flesh. Vampire, vegetarian. I'm a malnutrition. Chemically imbalanced. Ethiopian, inhaling kush. Blue projects get pushed. Mold with the bush. Standing on the middle line. No defining. Swirling dervish. In between space and time. Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Another news day. North, east, west, south. Not here to confuse the day. Just diffuse the way. Another Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Another news day. North, east, west, south. Not here to confuse the day. Just diffuse the way. Another Tips and Tricks Tuesday.
Whether you suffer from pain in your back to aches in your knees, come on down and purchase you some ancestral tea to get rid of all the parasites, toxins, and fleas. Spiritual elevation for cosmic gravitation. So put away the patience, cause there's no time to be wasted. Ancestral tea, that's all you need. Ancestral tea, so you better believe. Ancestral tea, and it works for real. Ancestral tea, so put away your pills. Ancestral tea, that's all you need. Ancestral tea, so you better believe. Ancestral tea, and it works for real. Ancestral tea, so put away your pills. This is a public commercial advertisement for ancestralteas.com. All rights are reserved. Peace.
Yeah. Expect nothing. 3 seconds, so yeah, that's like the day before creation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you ain't know, I'm an original Kushite. So I'm gonna run it down like this. Yo, I wasn't a field or a house nigga. I was a runaway. Put your gun away. What you trying to stun away? Until next Christmas, you'll get dismissed. I'm explicit and eclipse on the horizon. Stop despising your own righteousness. Nonsense bites your neck like Dracula, trying to extract the very essence of your spectacular magnificence. We're here to make an imprint and impression, a difference to ourselves and our children. Some need to stop talking so much and listen. Got your windows down with the music so loud and your head up so tall and proud. IDK-ELF was keeping me down. Turn the channel from then to now. Zero time, the lost is found. Remember them ways, remember them days when we were kings and queens. Ain't nothing changed, it's still the same thing. The table's just been rearranged by strangers from the same grain. Take our names, then claim the land from hence we came in vain. What am I supposed to do when I'm told to go to school at 5 years old by my mom Dukes? Even though she ain't know that this education system was polluting my mind. Maybe in time she rewind and find that in order for the seed to grow properly, it needs enough water and sunlight. See, our reality is based on our environment, and as it is, our environment is toxic, chaotic. Is there a chance for balance? Can we stand up? I know it's a challenge, but who's going to man up? We're tamed by whips and chains. Slavery's now on the mental plane. It ain't the same thing. Nah, it ain't the same thing. Yeah, expect nothing. 3 seconds old. Some more water. Something fresh for you. Call it a baptism. Some of that dirty, clean shit. Keeping it right. A little purification. You know? 3 seconds old. Expect nothing. Still whip behind the ears. Just letting you know what I'm saying? I'd rather be young and not know shit than be old and think I know everything. There's always space to learn. 3 seconds old. Expect nothing.
Peace and blessings, peace and honor. Once again, it's Blackwater, the META-MAJI-SHEN, here on Tips and Tricks Tuesday, First World Order Radio. I want to give thanks and give honor to those who came before and those who will come after. First and foremost, I want to give thanks to the Watcher family out there, to everyone listening, to our Dr. Ali and Princess Kadira out there, staying pedestrian, staying busy, staying in the mode, keeping it moving, uplifting humanity. Tonight's topic what we're going to be discussing is the metaphysical side of birth of a nation. In the description, I put birth of nation, but of course that's birth of a nation. I'll go back and edit that in a little bit. We're going to have a special guest come in tonight. We're going to ask him a few questions. It will be none other than KT, the arts degree, the metaphysical god of breaking down these movies and whatnot for that's been coming around. He did the X-Men movie and really brought to light, with that information he brought. He really shed some light on myself. He enlightened me on certain aspects of it, and I've been studying that since I met the brother a couple of weeks ago at the Autumnal Equinox event over at Dr. Ali and Kadira's abode, and it was a beautiful experience. All the brothers and sisters that came through really learned something from each and every one of us. We all learned something from each other. It was a collective transformation and transference of thoughts and ideas and everything. And the next event, you guys come on now. I'm trying to tell you, it's worth the while. We're going to be doing the same thing, just a little bit different. It's another day, but it's all in one. So he's coming in about 8 o'clock, and I'm going to ask him a few questions pertaining to Birth of a Nation. It's the latest Afrocentric type of film that's based on the life of Nat Turner. Nat Turner was the leader of a slave revolt back in the 1800s that sparked a lot of animosity within, I guess you could say, the European or the slave master type ordeal that was going on in, the slave master, and it brought about the Willie lynching type things and all that. So I'm not going to go into that side of it too much, the politics of it. I'm going to, as far as the movie is concerned, we got to also recall what movies are as far as the word, even movie. We're wordsmiths, so we like to break down these words. Somewhere movie meaning move the emotions. So somewhere within that thought of moving emotions being energy, emotion, and also emotion comes from the Latin word emotionus, which basically means something that stimulates or agitates the mind or soul. So movies have opportunity and the ability to stimulate and even agitate the mind and soul. That's by way of the emotion, the energy in motion. Remember, energy is basically, we can look at it in all different types of ways. It's spirit, though. It's the way spirit travels into all things in the physical format. You know, basically, spirit creates mind, mind creates the body. So when the spirit or the intelligence, the energy is coming through, it develops our mind. You know, the mind is infinite in all aspects of spirit, and the body, the physical side of it, is the vehicle that actually holds the mind that is created by spirit or by the will of God, if you want to, you know what I'm saying, say it like that. But as the spirit or the intelligence flows down, which can also be interpreted as melanin, you know, because melanin is dealing with the CNS or the central nervous system, you're dealing with melanocytes. Melanocytes are basically is information that is transposed or synthesized into the body by way of everything else, by way of the central nervous system. But the melanocytes are attached to the central nervous system as well as throughout the entirety of the body. You know what I'm saying? Basically, the whole makeup is melanin. In Chinese, they call it qi. You know, in Hindu or Buddhism, Hinduism, Kundalini, Prana. You know, there's different ways that we name it in this facet of faith or Christianity. We call it spirit. But all of it is all the same. It's just different words and titles that we may use as we participate with this energy in motion. All right, so as it flows or slows down, it flows into the physical reality at what we participate with our senses. You know, so when we participate with movies, it is something moving our emotions. So with this movie, Birth of a Nation, how is it moving our emotions? Is by way of different ups and downs, but also through the spiritual side of it. That's what we're going to really look at tonight. I come from different angles as far as health is concerned, and spiritual health is first and foremost. That's something we're lacking in our melanated community, true spiritual health. You know, we participate with the spirit like it's something external. We forgot that it's actually dwelling within us. So in doing so, today, to be honest, I just now saw the movie today. I'm not going to front. It was all like last minute. I talked to the brother yesterday, and I was actually asking if he wanted to be interviewed next week. But I was like, well, we can do it tomorrow. I was like, well, shoot, okay, that's what's up, man. Let's do it tomorrow. You know, so I went and watched the movie today. I didn't get the last bit of it, like the last 15, but I think I know what happened. They had gotten to the revolt where they was actually out there and they were shooting. And then I think the little dude, his name was Isaiah, he snitched on them and set up Nat Turner and everybody that was in his clique that was out there on the vote. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they went and started shooting. I had to walk out and go do some. I had to go take care of some business with my family at that moment. But so let's look at it like this. Let's look at, before I even watch the movie, I'm already on the level of like, okay, this is the Hollywood right here. You know, Hollywood, the Holly stick or whatever, this wand, these sorcerers. You know what I'm saying? What are they doing? You know, even though this is Nate Parker's movie and everything, you gotta remember Nathaniel Turner. You know what I'm saying? So he has the same name. Nathaniel means God gives. So at the beginning of the movie, the first scene, it's like it's a rite of birth, where it's the naming ceremony, and you call it the witch doctor or the high priest or whatnot. The Hogan is giving Nate his name, and he says God has given him a gift, if I'm not mistaken. And he said, listen to this child, a prophet is born, if I'm not mistaken. And he also has qualification on it, says 3 dots on his chest. You know what I'm saying? That's mind, body, soul. You know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, overstanding, understanding, however we want to look at it. Yeah, he has qualification on his chest going back into the ancestral rights, or the rites of passage, going through that whole transition. So from a child, he had a strong name, being Nathaniel, God gives. All right, so now I'm going back to what is the sorcery behind it, what is the trickery, if there's any trickery, and then what is the metaphysical language that's being reintroduced. Remember, metaphysical language is the retransformation of words in order to open up different portals of thought. So even the name birth of a nation is almost an oxymoron, because nation goes into the Latin word nascere. Nascere means to be born. So it's like birth of a birth. So birth of a birth. So there's two births in one. So that, I had to take it back. So last year, and we're doing deal with current events. Last year around the same time was something called META in the Kabbalistic term. The Shemitah means basically a release. It's a renewal. It's like letting go of all debts and everything that is owed to someone. But who owns Hollywood? The Jews. The Jews deal with the Judaistic esoteric Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is based on a tree of life. So last year was something called, at just around this time, a hurricane called Hurricane Joaquin. In Spanish, it was Hurricane Joaquin or something like that, but when you get the derivation in Hebrew, it's Hurricane Joaquin. Joaquin is one of the pillars of the tree of life. And tree of life is pertaining to, the Kabbalistic tree of life is pertaining to how all things in existence have this in representation, but basically one side of it is Joachim and one side is Boaz. All right, so Joachim, last year, Hurricane Joaquin was around the 3rd to the 5th, if I'm not mistaken, and that was the year of the Shemitah. The Shemitah is every 7 years they have a Shemitah, and every 7 years, or Shemitah, however you want to pronounce it, but every 7 years this takes place. And then there's something called the Great Shemitah, the Super Shemitah, where it's every 7 times 7, that's 49 years, when they call that the Jubilee, or the Great Jubilee or whatnot. And it's based on, they say it's 50 years, but in reality it's 49 years because it's 7 times 7. So this year, from September 23rd all the way up to October 3rd was the so-called Jubilee for the Judaistic religion, as well as in its Kabbalistic esoteric form. So the Jubilee is 49 years that just took place, ended on October 3rd. Began September 23rd last year. That was the autumnal equinox. Equinox meaning equal days and night, talking about mother and father energy, night and day, light and dark. The pillar of Joachim, the pillar of Joachim represents the masculine energy of light, right? So it's like the universe, light, motion, activity, the electron. The pillar of Boaz represents the female polarity of the universe, the physical side of the universe, the darkness, passivity, or receptivity, as well as silence, the non-movement somewhat. But also the neutron, so, and also it can be similar to the concept of Eastern yin and yang, representing the opposites in balance, how they disagree yet they correspond and complement each other. So you have Boaz and you have Joachim. This year we had a hurricane come through called Matthew. Matthew actually means gift of Yahweh. All right, Joachim means, the word Joachim in Hebrew means Yahweh or God establishes or lifts up. Joachim is the father of the so-called Jesus. All right, so now, getting deeper into it a little bit with just the names alone, shows us that something is definitely, being established, so to speak, with the Jakim, Yahweh establishes or God establishes, and Boaz, meaning strength, basically. Yet, this year Matthew came into play. So Matthew, if you're looking at the word Matthew, you have Ma'at Haru, right? Ma'at Haru is, or Ma'at, on the pillar, on the tree of life, represents Chesed. Chesed meaning love and mercy, right? So that is the fourth spirit. The fifth spirit is Gabara. Gabara meaning strength. Yet when we're looking at it on the flip, the fifth spirit is on the right hand side. That's Gabara. And when we're participating with it, the tree of life, as far as the Patnutet is concerned, or the Patnutet meaning the cake of the divine, that is the Meta-MAJI alternative for the pronunciation, or the Meta-MAJI alternative of the description of the tree of life. It's the Patnutet, Pautneter. So this divine cake is when we represent Boaz and Jakim. Jakim will represent the fifth spirit of Harukati, and Boaz will represent the fourth spirit of Ma'at. Well, basically, it will be the fifth spirit will be the fourth spirit is Ma'at. Chesed, and the fifth spirit is Gabara. Gabara meaning strength and certainty, and then Chesed meaning basically love and mercy. So Chesed also is equivalent to Ma'at. Ma'at, looking at the word Matthew, is Ma'at Haru, right? So we have Ma'at Haru over here on the left, representing the feminine energy of Boaz, and then we have Jakim over here on the right, representing the masculine energy, or we have Gabara over here on the right, representing the masculine energy of Jakim, of last year's hurricane. So you got Jakim, and we have Ma'at Haru, or Matthew. Now, I know, it's one of the laws of measure. The law of measure is called the law of intention. It says the more evidence one looks for to support a given law, conclusion, or any type of worldview, the more one will find that, conclusion. You know what I'm saying? So anytime we start knocking at Pandora's door, Pandora's box, and open it up, we're going to find an answer to that question because we're forming it. So, basically, this is how the spirit moves. Everything has already been handed to us and answered. So we're going into these names a little bit more, and we see that throughout the movie, everyone has some type of biblical name. The first thing is when I sit down, I start taking notes because I took notes while I watched the movie at the theater. I look up, the first thing is young Nat Turner running. Well, after the first initial scene when he gets his name in the naming ceremony and everything, he's running on the plantation or whatever with the little friend at the time, Sam. Samuel means God hears, right? So Nathaniel meaning God gives, or basically God gives, and Samuel being one of his friends, Samuel hears that Nathaniel can read. So he goes and tells the mother, this young, black boy or whatever, this melanated young man can read. She was astounded. She was like, wow, he can read. We got to put him over here. So he brought him and took him into the library or whatever and started, teaching him how to read the Bible. So all these names in the movie were basically biblical names. His daughter's name is Joanna. Joanna is from the Hebrew word Johanna. Johanna means God is gracious, right? Even the mother of Cheriana, I couldn't find a definition for that all in all, but Anna means grace or gracious. And the mother of Cheriana and the grandmother of Joanna or Johanna is Abigail, and Abigail means the Father rejoices. So God rejoices, or the Father rejoices with the gift, the gift of prophecy that was brought through Nathaniel. All right, so this Shemitah and the so-called ritual, if there is a ritual, we're not going into the metaphysical side of it. Shemitah again means a release. So, like even with that movie that came out last year, Purge, they show us a fear element with people running around with guns for a certain amount of time. They're allowed to purge on people, kill them or whatever, murder with these guns. That's what they show as far as the film is concerned. These higher ups, these littles I like to call, really these lower downs. They go out and they show us these movies with these spirit implementations that keep us, in a lower emotional state or in the lower self, and it doesn't allow the haru to go to the eye or to the heart, to where the light can shine properly and then be intact with spirit once again, or the mind properly, so that everything will flow in conjunction and correspond with the higher and lower selves. So when we're looking at it in that perspective, we got to see that, it is another story being told. Remember also that the two colors of the pillars are white and black. So you got white being the masculine energy, and the black being the female energy. If you also recall the first scene, white and black, there's a lot of white and black, of course, but the first scene, white, the Caucasian and whatnot, or European was high and go steep with Nat, the melanated brother, Nat Turner. And he finally said, you won again or something like that. But it was also, they were right there at the big White House with the pillars in the front of it. That's when I was like, oh, yeah, I did. This is one of them movies. Then the next thing they showed is a half moon. Half moon represents, it was a half moon if I'm not mistaken. So that's a 14-day cycle. So that's the half moon is it's 28 days within each cycle, each moon cycle. So you got 28 days within a moon cycle. That means 7 times 7 is 2 weeks within it. So that half moon was showing the split, or the two pillars once again, the light and the dark side. So that's the masculine and feminine energies. So we're going into politics now, and this campaign is running. We have Obama, melanated brother, masculine. That's the light energy. And then we have Hillary Clinton that may be coming in as the female energy, as the black or whatnot, even though Obama is the melanated brother and Hillary Clinton is the European. You can flip it around. But this is you can see this leading out of and following into from this patriarchal into a matriarchal way of thinking and living. And also last year, the Shemitah of the 7-year period, the Pope came and visited, and he's a patriarchal leader or whatever, as far as the world is concerned. The Pope, when he visited, he asked the indigenous people for forgiveness. When he asked that indigenous people for forgiveness, in essence, he was asking the motherly energy, Mutter, for forgiveness. He was asking for the mother, the matter, Mat Haru, again, Mat Haru meaning the balance of the light. So the light being also Jakim and Mat Haru, or basically, once again, Gabara and Tasad, or Harukati. Harukati means the two lights of the spirit, of the soul, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have Ma'at, meaning balance, love, truth, and whatnot, or Ma'ati, meaning to balance both sides. So in that respect, right there alone, you also have Eden and Pangala. So the Eden and Pangala, which are brown and white, within as far as in Sanskrit, Eden and Pangala, and then that's dealing with the Kundalini energies rising from the sacrum. There's two sacral nerves on the side of our body, going back up the spine. Leading back to the higher self, which would be Kether, the crown, or Asir, you know what I'm saying? So as that energy rises back up, then we go back into our prophetic set, or we have all those gifts, those cities that they speak of in the Bible as the 9 gifts, but also the cities in Buddhism and Hinduism. So these gifts, again, go back to the gift of Yahweh. Matthew meaning the gift of Yahweh. And then what does Nathaniel mean? God gives, or God gifts. All right, so when those two energies come together in the movie is with Cheriana. Cheriana, and cherry, you remember, is the symbol of that color is the symbol of maroon, the color of the Moors, Mu-er, you know, father and mother, you know what I'm saying, the light and the water. All right, but he gives her a gift, and it's an ancient ancestral gift. So he hands her this gift, and he also said later on in the movie, I'll give you my soul, you know what I'm saying? So basically the soul is the gift, the higher self, you know what I'm saying? So that's the connection, that physical thing right there was the connection of both of those two entities, right, in that movie. And the first time they saw each other, he knew. He was like, oh, yeah, he knew that was going to be his wife, you know what I'm saying? It was no hesitation. He was like, get her. Bought her for $275 or something like that. The dude, Sam, $275 is 5. 7, 5, 12, 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 equals, again, the fifth spirit, Gebera. Gebera goes back to last year. Joaquin. And then this year, Matthew, or Mahataru. That's Ma'at. That's the fourth spirit, or that's Shasad. So 4 plus 5 equals 9. That's birth, or the birthing cycle also. But then, what are they birthing? They're birthing Haru, by way of Ma'at, Haru, Matthew, Ma'at, Haru, birthing Haru. Haru is the 7th seed. That's Teperat. Teperat means beauty. And what did the mother say to Nathaniel? The mother, he had said something. Thank you for making her pretty. She said, I ain't make her pretty. She was born. I wrote it down. She said the girl was brought into this world as beautiful as she could be. So she was already beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, as the movie goes on, you see how beautiful she was, not just physically, but how she was the balance of that prophetic side and also the militant side, the enforcing side of Nathaniel, or Nat Turner. You know what I'm saying? She brought that out of him by way of what took place when those slave operators, whatever you want to call them, I don't know, was out there doing what they do, the nasties and stuff like that, and mistreating our melanated sisters out there. You know what I'm saying? So he was fed up after that point. Then, you know, one thing led to another, and the revolt took place. So from my perspective, you know, how it ain't etched in stone, but how that coincides and correlates basically with last year's hurricane, Haru, Ka-Ni, you know what I'm saying? So hurricane, light of the spirit, or the, you know, calming spirit, Haru meaning light, or the mound, or the, you know what I'm saying? So Haru, light, Ka, spirit, Ni can go into Nu. So Nu meaning the infinite primordial water. So the infinite light of the primordial waters. You know what I'm saying? So that is also going back in the soul. You know, I ain't gonna go too far into it because the brother gonna come in, and you know, I just took these notes today. I had been contemplating on some of this reality, but when I seen the movie, and even in the movie, they let me get the brother on real quick though, before I go in too far. You know what I'm saying? Gonna have a good interview with him tonight. Oh yeah, I'm gonna text him the number real quick. I didn't text him the number. Good, get thanks. He just text. Let me send him the number real fast, like in a hurry. Even at that scene when they was having that first, there was a couple getting married. merging, they were singing a song, the song "You Got a Right to the Tree of Life." I said, well, look at the spirit. Look at how the intelligence moves. You know what I'm saying? They even had the song in there talking about you have a right to the tree of life. Now the tree of life is you, basically. That's who we are. Tree of life ain't nothing outside of us like a tree like to talk about. You know what I'm saying? The tree of life, we're talking about the spine, how those energies go up the spine and then reactivate properly. When reactivated properly, they go back into the pineal gland region. And then we have all these different miraculous events like inventing lights and roads and pyramids and, you know, knowing how to operate under the sun properly, you know what I'm saying, knowing the sleep cycle, knowing the wake cycle, knowing that the parasympathetic nervous system is producing melatonin at night, you know what I'm saying, knowing that the sympathetic nervous system is producing serotonin through the day. So that's that feminine and that masculine energy that also unites and unifies as one to bring about that exchange of energy properly to formulate the physical body, also to formulate a pristine reality on the external. So the brother is now present, and he is, well, I'm going to bring him on in. I think let me say, good thanks.
Peace.
KT.
Peace, brother.
Peace,
yes,
brother.
yes. What's going on, man?
All right, so I just now gave a brief synopsis of my take on some of the aspects of what's behind the Birth of a Nation movie, and dealing with the two pillars of the Tree of Life, Joaquin, Boaz. Now, as far as this is last minute for me and you, as far as us linking up on this today. But I know you're about to drop some info. Oh, and get thanks to the brother for coming through. This is a good brother. I just met him physically a couple of weeks ago. Very intelligent, highly intelligent brother. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Y'all already know him, but this is Red and Blue Pill's younger brother, but the brother, he on point with health, everything. I mean, he knows his stuff. I'm let him go ahead and speak and introduce himself and everything.
Peace, brother. Nah, I appreciate it, man. I just want to thank you for bringing me on this platform, having this here, these airwaves, so the people have options, you know what I'm saying? So thank you.
Okay, thanks. No doubt, brother.
We had the honor of being able to meet each other at the retreat, which was very, very powerful. And just to see all that I have experienced since that weekend, has been amazing. Leading up to this point right here, us being on the radio, about to break this movie down because I'm about to do this event where I let everybody know what's really going on in this film and what the points are that we have to pay attention to.
No doubt, exactly, yes. And there's a few of them in there. I'm going to let you do your thing, though. I do have a few questions, and it's, like you said, the movie has a lot of different angles that we could come from. I'm going to deal with the metaphysical side, as the name Blackwater, the META-MAJI-SHEN goes, what I'm saying? I deal with that a lot in life, what I'm saying? So the metaphysical language has always been something that I listen to, and we wordsmith, so we automatically, when we hear something and see something, we have to retransform it so that it has a better intake when it do go in, so that when it come back out, it won't be the same way as what the infiltrators are trying to, pretty much put into it, as far as the indoctrination is concerned.
That's it. So, what is Hollywood Decoded? Because this is pretty much what I call, my series that I have in which I take these movies and I break them up. They're all over YouTube. I pretty much foresaw the creation of the Black Panther coming into existence. I even named the actor before they named it. It was just weird. So I have a lot of films that I break down, and they all culminate into what I call Hollywood Decoded. So people ask themselves, as they hear me say that, what is Hollywood Decoded? Well, Hollywood Decoded is exactly that. It is decoding Hollywood. And what is Hollywood? Well, Hollywood is a type of plant, actually. It's a tree. You know, most of us see them in the winter times or around real complex office buildings or even apartment complexes. They're the bushes that have the sharp green leaves. They're a nice color green with almost a leather exterior, and they have points on the leaves that are sharp, and bright red berries that grow on it that everybody knows you don't eat it. You know what I'm saying? That wood from that tree is what was formulated, constructed into wands. So all the wizards and the warlocks and the witches that you hear about in stories and tales and in history, they were casting spells by way of using wands made from the Hollywood. So that is why this industry is called that, because it's a spell. It's about magic and casting, and it's really a two-way mirror, you know. But see, if you're not aware that you're participating in something, a ceremony, then what happens is your energy can be utilized, manipulated, or even suggested to by way of the energies, the information, the intent behind the film. So when you look at Hollywood, as I said, it comes from the Hollywood tree. So, you know, that's the wand. In order for any movie to develop, the first step in a movie is the writing stage. People have to write the story, you know, because if you look at our history, griots, jolly kundas, that's how history was passed down. It was passed down verbally, allegorically, through way of a story. And at times we would actually do plays and even dress up to pass these stories down, and that in essence was films, that was staged. So you would see those same principles. So the first stage is to get a writer, and in order to get a writer, you need somebody who knows how to put words together to convey an idea. Okay, putting words together. What do you call it when you put letters together? It's called spelling. So the first stage is the spelling stage. Once the story is done, then they have to start to appoint the correct people to play the parts, which they call stars. But the process of hiring stars to play a role is called casting. So you deal with the Hollywood, then you have yourself the writing being the spelling, and then you follow up with the casting, you know, of the stars. And in this, you see a whole magical thing going underway. We have a film now called Birth of the Nation. So how would I see this movie if I know that I'm dealing with a situation where it's all about kind of seeing the truth behind the story, seeing what the real narrative is? What is it I'm experiencing when I see this movie? All right, now, one more tidbit to anybody listening, y'all got to check out neurocinematics. Neurocinematics is a industry that deals with the effects films have on the brain and how the brain reacts in viewing films. So this is a very interesting study, and it's a very interesting situation that I implore everybody to check out, so that you could just understand how important it is to decode a film, because then you really see what's going on. And I have go ahead.
What was that? What's the name of that again?
Neurocinematics. Neuro, like neuron, neurology, cinematics, neurocinematics. Most definitely. Yep. So I'm looking at Birth of a Nation, and it's funny because this isn't the first time you hear this title. I mean, nationhood is everything we talk about, you know, and that's the big disagreement in our people is the whole nation thing, because people want to yell Black Power and then other people want to yell nationality, and there's no common ground in between it, and we all trying to build a nation together. So the title of this film, though, is actually from a movie that came out exactly 100 years ago called Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffith, where it was a propaganda film to really incite the development and the acceptance of the KKK and their principles. And the movie came out, and at that time, I think it made like $50 million, which is like off the crazy number to have 100 years ago, you know, in film. That's like, I don't know, grossing $1 billion in a weekend now. You know what I'm saying? And in this movie, they had a scene where, you know, they didn't have nobody black playing the roles in the movie. They actually had a Caucasian playing a black man who, in turn, was harassing a Caucasian woman who, in being fearful of the fact that this white man dressed in black was going to rape her, decides to commit suicide by jumping off the side of some mountain or something. So these type of things are engineered and utilized to psychically attack the people and incite fear and incite turmoil. So automatically everybody wants to be part of the KKK or support what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because they're seeing that the encroachment of the indigenous people would only equate to men wanting to rape Caucasian women. So this was the tool that was used. So you fast forward 100 years, and now you have this guy, Nate Parker, who decides to do the same thing. He's like, yo, I'm going to utilize what is the current psychosis of the people in order to incite thought and conversation, because what is the narrative of this film? It is a film that's talking about slavery, talking about the fact that 100 years later, we are still enslaved as a people. Now, though we're not in rags and getting whipped and picking cotton, it's more of a voluntary servitude that's occurring now, which comes by way of the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment, you know, in the Constitution, which Ava DuVernay just dropped a documentary on Netflix. So Nate Parker decides to do a film about not just slavery, but a rebellion in slavery, because I don't know about you, brother, but I haven't seen rebellions in Hollywood. Like, I've seen a lot of slave tales that have been told, and it just continues to show the same thing. But rarely do we ever see anybody rise up. You know, they did that in Django with Jamie Foxx. But the difference in this scenario is that we're actually talking about a real person, which does something different to the mind. You see, because it existed. So then, what really goes on here? What happened here? What happened? Why have I not heard of this individual? Or why do people don't think he's a hero because of his actions? So it makes people think. All right. So you have Nat Turner, who was born right at 1800. He was born 1800, October 2nd, actually. Right, so that Libra energy. Now, the tale is told that he was born on a plantation underneath the ownership of a family that went by the name of Turner. Now, the person who, quote unquote, was his master was called Samuel Turner. But see, we have to look deeper in our history, because everybody wasn't slaves by way of the narrative that we have been told. And the narrative we have been told is that these big giant ships docked on the coast of Africa and just scooped a whole lot of Africans into a boat and brought them over here. Now, I haven't seen any boats. And that also makes me think, as I get older and I grow and teach to my children, that we were not here until the Caucasian decided to place us here, when we know good and well that that's not true. So there were people here prior to the slaves coming. So in the film, you know, they talk about his lineage and, you know, where in Africa they come from. However, Nat Turner was indigenous to this land. Matter of fact, his last name was not Turner. His last name was Tunica, which I know you share the same history, the same understanding, don't you, brother?
True indeed. By way of
right,
the
Tunica tribe, right?
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Did you go over this in your introduction?
I went over to Turner. I knew I had a, it's ironic. The first question was, what is the main ideology that the writer was going to convey, and you just answered it with
exactly
what you were saying about the indigenous, and everything, the nation, nationality. But
That's right.
I didn't go into
That's
it.
right.
I just said Nat Turner. Yep, or Nat Turner.
Now, the film, interestingly enough, started off with a ritual in the woods. Okay? A ritual in the woods where we didn't know if it was Africa, we didn't know if it was here. All we knew is that it was a ceremony occurring that included the drumming, included the fire, included the women, included the incantations and the tone, which that's the intent. That's the meat of it. Okay? That's what matters. So it started off with the fact that he was not a slave, because had he been one, then the first scene of the movie should have been him in shackles, should have been him in servitude, right? Should have been him being abused in some form or another. But the first scene was him in the woods, in the forest, underneath the stars, fire, and the elders, as they him and told him that he was a prophet and he was able to see things because he had the mark.
Right.
Okay, and the mark that he had was the trivium, and I know you probably went into the pillars because he had 3 spheres on his chest. Did you go into that?
Yep, a little. So I touched on it, the pillars of Joachim and Boaz, and how it plays with the tree of life and the knowledge, wisdom, understanding.
Exactly.
I touched on it.
And he had the 3 spheres actually on his chest in the movie. That was his mark. And this trivium, is what set him apart, because apparently he taught himself how to read and write, right? Because they couldn't cover that part. They couldn't cover that part up. So how else did he learn? He taught himself. I'm not saying that he couldn't, but it also could be because he was part of a nation, because he was educated, because others knew how to read and write as well, So that trivium, or those 3 points representing grammar, logic, and rhetoric, which is a very potent discussion that occurs, in education, because grammar, deals with the mathematics of it all, the structure of it all, while the logic deals with the mental, and then the rhetoric being how you convey from one mind to another so someone actually understands. So it's like a step-by-step process. So they wanted to utilize Nat Turner, obviously, to take the Bible and utilize the Bible on a particular frequency to convey a message to his people. The same way you'll see preachers standing now and seeing thousands of people listening, and the people are sick. You know what I'm saying? People got diabetes, people got cancer, people are on a nebulizer, they're on a pacemaker. You know what I'm saying? And he's sitting up there and he's just going in on this word as though this word is going to be all these people need in order for them to overcome, when it's the sickness in the first place. The other part of that is the fact that in the film he talked about how there's another side to interpreting it, right? Where for everything that said that they were supposed to be enslaved, there was something that talked about their liberation, which tells how people are supposed to interpret the Bible with a stronger eye. So if you look at the Bible even deeper, you'll find gems in there. It's just that if you're not already open on a higher level, then what you'll do is you'll trap yourself within inside of the allegories that are in that book. So they used his third chakra, they used his force, they used his power and who he was to in turn indoctrinate the people. When all the while what really was going on, a situation where man was defending his land. His land was being taken from him from colonialists because the new thought process was the railroad. It was about the railroad, because the railroad was a way for people to manipulate time. If time was something that we all prayed to, the seasons, the sun, and everything like that, the agriculture, then anybody who can control time can then in turn control even more than that. So what happened? The railroad gets laid down so that you can now put the locomotive on the track. And when you put the locomotive on the track, as I rape your land of your resources while I have you caught up in battles over the land, I can now transport great quantities of these resources in order to then create an industry at a pace much quicker than anything you're used to, because we're going into the era of the train.
Industry.
You see what I'm saying? Now, the funny thing is, Nat Turner was hung in 1831. In 1835, they opened the train station in Southampton and Cortland, which was called Jerusalem, which, you know, that's where they were going in order to get all of the arms. That's where they were stored at. They were stored in Jerusalem, Virginia, but it's called Cortland now. Now, when they ended up having to face their enemy that day during the rebellion and the uprising, when he went into hiding, the reason why he came back out and gave himself up was because the government at that time decided to deploy over 2,000 troops in Virginia to massacre and mutilate the people until he stepped forward. We're told that it was like maybe 200, I think they said it was 200 or something like that was the number, but it's really 2,000.
Imagine 2,000 armed soldiers.
Yes, just not asking any questions, just running through it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
really warfare.
Exactly. So he planned the whole thing out, okay? Because he understood the stars, and this is why he started it in August. He started it in August because he was formulating what he was doing after another indigenous rebel known as Dirty Bookman. Are you familiar with Dirty Bookman?
Yes.
Okay. So Dirty Bookman started what? The Haitian Revolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now,
yeah.
Ironically enough, if we go back a couple years, we have an actor by the name of Chris Rock. Okay? Chris Rock decided to come out with a movie that came out December 12th on 12/12. And I believe it was 2012 as well. 12/12/12. Do you know what the name of this film was called?
No, I don't. I don't recall. I don't remember the movie.
Okay. It was called Top 5.
Top 5?
Yeah. Do you remember the movie Top 5 with Chris Rock and
No.
Rosario Dawson? Okay. Chris Rock comes out with a movie named Top 5, where in the movie he plays a comedian who had a bad experience, and through this experience got caught up in the depression, which then forced him to change how he went about doing his stand-up, to the point that he decided to create a film that showed his dramatic side so people could take him as a serious actor. And in this movie, there's a constant reminder of who your top 5 MCs are, because everybody got their own top 5, and it kind of gives birth to your personality. Okay? So this is what the movie was about. But check this out. He played a character named Andre Allen, who was a comedian, right? The interesting thing is what dropped him in depression was that he went down to Florida one year, and going down there, met a guy, paid him for some drugs, and the dude brought dope and women over. He got high, but he didn't do anything with the women. and thought that the guy paid the ticket but never did. So the girls got mad they never got paid and cried rape on Andre Allen. So he had been trying to hide this rape case for all these years and got depressed, and in that decided to make a film. And this film that he made was called Uprise, which was about Dirty Bookman. Now, when he did this movie called Dirty Bookman, no one went to go see the movie because they didn't take it seriously, but everybody was in line to see another film. Do you know what the name of the other film that Chris Rock's character had to go against in the theater?
No, and this is real time. I know I don't.
This is in the movie now. The name of the movie in Chris Rock's movie that he had to go against as a Haitian rebel slave was called Boo by Madea. Yes, the same movie that just came out by Madea was in a film about 3 years ago by Chris Rock, in which it went against another film, in which this film had to do with a slave revolt.
And
called
this
Uprise.
And you said this movie Boo just recently was released.
Yes, this Boo just came out, and it's going up against Birth of a Nation in the box office. So what I'm saying is, what we're experiencing, what we're experiencing right now, occurred in the film 3 years ago by Chris Rock, and everybody could go look at it. And just to add on to this, Chris Rock's love interest was Gabrielle Union, who also was in Birth of a Nation. Okay, as a woman who got raped by a Caucasian against her will.
All right, so basically, this movie was already in formulation in 2012, and Chris Rock
had to be further than that, because check it out, Parker. Remember the day that the rebellion happens in August, okay, in the story of Nat Turner is when the rape allegations of Nate Parker surfaced.
In August.
Yes, in August of this year, from something that happened in 1999. The interesting thing is, Nate Parker, and the other brother's name is John Miggiani Celestine. Okay, he's Haitian. You know, not only is he Haitian, but he's been spending time writing the story of Toussaint L'Ouverture and the Haitian Revolution. He's part of a paper that specifically deals with writing about that era of history. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, come on now. I'm not tripping. You know what I'm saying? This guy has this movie that comes out a few years ago, and the movie, so supposedly what happened was, after the movie came out, the producers called Tyler Perry and said, yo, you need to really do this film. Are you serious? It's supposed to be a joke. And they're like, no, I think it'll hit. I'll be good. And he decided to do the film. But this was after the fact. You see what I'm saying? But in the movie Top 5, there's a scene in a movie theater where everyone's lined up to see the new Madea movie, and it's called Boo. And no one is in line to see Uprise. The same thing that happened with Birth of a Nation, of it making the $7 million.
And that's in totality, that's how much it's made since it's been out.
Well, no, it's more now. That's the opening weekend. You know, that was the opening weekend total, which I don't believe those numbers. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the parallels involved in this. You see what I'm saying? The parallels involved in this. You know, and with the rape allegations, like, you know, he was found innocent. Nate Parker was found innocent, you know, but they're still on him with it because his partner actually had to do time. You know, he was found guilty because he advanced she said no, and apparently it was obliged, but yet and still the friend, Jean Miggiani Celestine, he actually was sent to jail. Now, Gabrielle Union, what's interesting about her is she actually has been raped in the past, and she's come out openly about that. A lot of people know that this happened to her when she was younger. So to put her in the film with that knowledge says something, because she's one of the only actors that was in the film that's speaking out about the rape allegations. And, she's, of course, speaking from the perspective of a victim. You see? Yeah. So by her being in the movie, as well as her being in Top 5, and her also actually being a victim in the past, I just find that triangulation quite rare right there. Yeah. So, you got to look into it. So, this is what I do. And I'm about to do this event here in Detroit, at the Sankofa Life Center on Saturday, October 22nd. I'm going to do a visual presentation of this where, man, I cover so many points with this movie from a cultural perspective, metaphysical perspective, spiritual perspective. It's just on all different levels. And I'm gonna have a guest in the building, my brother Asa, who's definitely going to give some great spiritual and health advice. He's going to open. But, my special guest is Syntex, the graffiti artist. Now, for those who don't understand, hip-hop has 4 elements. You got fire, water, earth, air. Graffiti is the earth, and it represents the meta-netter, because meta-netter represents archetypes. You create a visual composite with a particular angle, shape, geometry that conveys something in your mind, which is equated to numerous meanings, profound meanings of different levels. This is what the meta-net is for. This is what graffiti is used for. They give messages, they tell tales. There's so much in it, and it's alive. There's an energy behind it. And this brother is indigenous to Michigan, his people. They've been here. And he specifically is a graffiti artist that is world-renowned and has beautiful, magnificent art here in the city. What makes him so special is the story that he's going to have to tell in regards to the prejudice he has dealt with here in the city. And the same way that they were trying to make treaties and take our land during those times of slavery, he has experienced through real estate and gentrification by way of his artwork on the walls. So he's going to be there to tell that tale as well, so that people can get that understanding. But like I said, it's going to be a beautiful event. I do the vegan food. I'm going to have a great layout of all the foods that I prepare, so people can get a taste of the transition of switching to the plant-based diet. We're going to be in the building with the food. And like I said, this presentation is going to be profound. I'm going to draw a lot of parallels and connections, and just tell people a story that they can relate to. So I definitely look forward to that. This is going to be at Sankofa Life Center, 18734 Woodward Avenue. You can get in contact with me through email at lovegreenlife@gmail.com. That's LUV greenlife@gmail.com. I'm also Kamani Tate on Facebook, KAMANITAIT, or KT the Arch Degree on Instagram. And through any of those venues, and I'm going to, as soon as the flyer is done, which I'll be getting probably around midnight or something, I'm going to send you the flyer, and you're more, you can post it up, and anybody who's listening in, they could definitely get in touch with the host, to get further information about the event.
Yeah, thanks. I most definitely will. I'll post that.
But yes, we have to definitely, go in these theaters with our other eye open to understand, the messages that are being conveyed. There's a great deal of history in this story. I'm not taking anything away from the way it was filmed, or even the symbolism, the subtle symbolism that the brother used in a lot of the scenes, which I'll go in more detail, when I do the live decoded. But I'm glad you was able to give a metaphysical introduction, to all of the principles, so we together was able to just kind of compile enough to cover all bases, for the listening audience.
Yes, and you brought something to light with the date of Nat Turner. I didn't know the date of his birth was October 2nd, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that correct?
That's right.
Now, what I just brought in at the onset of the F was how the correlation of the Shem Itak, or whatever it is, Kabbalistic ritual, the actual end date of the Great Jubilee or the Great Shemitah or the Super Shemitah is October 3rd. It started September 23rd of last year and ended of October 3rd. So
right, because remember, we were doing the ritual when we was up there right at the end of September, and it started, I think the New Year started October 2nd.
Exactly, yep.
Right.
The Great Jubilee or whatever was
that's right,
ending.
Exactly. Right. That's when he was born, 1800.
And what's that, 116 years ago? 7?
Yeah.
But also, it's not a coincidence. But then what I also was bringing in was Matthew. So we got this Hurricane Matthew this year.
Right.
That was around, what was the 6th through the 10th or something like that. Can't recall exactly when it takes. Like the 8th.
And remember, it ransacked Haiti.
Yeah,
that's why I brought up Duddy
exactly.
Bookman. You know what I mean? Duddy Bookman, he died November 1791. That's exactly 9 years prior to Nat Turner being born. And he was born October 2nd, but he died in November. And the day that the Haitian Revolution started was August. It was the same as when Nat Turner did his.
Mm-hmm. So he went off of that revolt as well. As far as
not just that. I wouldn't be surprised if Bookman came back as Nat Turner, because he was called Dirty Bookman because he knew how to read. He was always seen with books, and that's what Nat Turner's known for, the book. Bookman. They even said that in the movie.
Okay, now, I got two questions. One of the questions is basically what you just mentioned. How powerful was the moment when that European mother, the mother of Sam, and Sam again means God hears. Samuel means God hears. So she was like, Sam told me you know how to read. So God hears, so to speak, comes from that angle. So as far as
then remember, Sam is the 3 mother letters, though.
As well, dealing with the
Sam. Anytime you hear Sam in movies, they're talking about them 3 mother letters.
The water,
Shin, Aleph, and Mem. Yeah, the fire, you know what I'm saying? The water and the mist, the steam, because that's how you give birth to something, is through the vapor. So every time you talk about them 3 mother letters, you're talking about the vapor occurring and then something giving birth or something born. That's why it was through Sam.
Mm-hmm. And Samael is the poison of God, as far as the lower and the higher. When we're speaking of the poison coming from the pit, coming up through the voice.
Exactly. That's why you'll hear them say Samuel, but then other times they'll say Sam.
Yeah. So how powerful was that when she said, these books are for the white folks, you wouldn't understand that, but then hand it in the Bible.
Right. Yeah, meaning this is all your heritage. This is your history right here. You don't do that, because if you read this and then read that Bible, you'll be speaking a whole other scripture.
Right. So it was more or less, it was like saying, or less is more, basically saying, read this right here, get your interpretation later on in life. You're going to see the spiritual demand that is necessary for us melanated people, necessarily by way of just this book, the Bible, but by way of the metaphysical interpretation that can be brought forth out of the holy book, so to speak.
Right. But that's only if you can interpret it properly. And the interest and curiosity for all those other books will do nothing but allow him to ask the proper questions, so you don't fall victim to just focusing on the parts of the Bible that substantiate the diabolical and savage behavior of those people, but rather see the whole thing. So, didn't want them to see, the world from all angles. They was like, no, you're just going to focus on this country,
Right.
So
because there was some
that's
truth
what went
in
down with
book.
that. So I know you said you had a couple questions. I know I probably got another 10 minutes left to rock. I wanted to answer some of the questions that you might have had, and I didn't know if you had any hands up in the queue as well. If there was anybody out there that might have some questions before I start wrapping it up.
Yeah, well, not as of yet. They someone was right there. They backed out, but they still right there. If anyone does have questions, please feel free to chime in. You answered 4 of them already. You answered the question I had about what the actor director was trying to convey, Nate Parker. It's almost not a coincidence that his name is Nate, which is also Nathaniel.
Yeah, Nate Parker and Nat Turner. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and he's only been in conscious films. Like, he was in Pride as the swimmer. He was in The Red Tails. He was in Beyond the Lights, where he transformed the black woman, got her to wake back up. And what else? Oh, Blood Done Signed My Name. He was in The Great Debaters. So he made powerful plays. And the black woman's role in this movie, which is a narrative that just is so redundant right now, is the black man not being there to protect her. All right? Because I can't understand how the brother who was with Gabrielle Union wasn't able to protect her from that situation that night, but when Nat Turner got whooped, now he's ready to do a thing, and not saying that's what happened for real, but just that narrative is being visually displayed to us. Our women feel the way they feel because they don't feel secure and they don't feel protected. Because if you're a man, you're a man. And when we look at antiquity and we read our stories and we see how men got down, we don't get down the same way.
Speaking
for real. Horses with
the
scimitar,
yeah. So, and it all flows in together because scimitar is based on both energies of the masculine and the female.
That's right. That's why it's curved. It has a convex and a concave side to the blade.
I do have one question that's pertaining to what you were just speaking on. What do you think about as melanated populace in general? Do you feel that we receive the message or the message or the message, meaning the anointed age, the Christ consciousness type of conclusion within the allegorical and metaphorical interplay of the melanated female as goddess and how important her role is in the healing aspect of our society, as well as the authority role she plays.
Look, they held that down in the film. First of all, God was a black woman in the movie. She was a black woman. She was a beautiful black woman in all white with wings, with none but light.
Yeah.
Coming from the perspective of a divine nurturer, the milk bringer, that galactic. That's the galactose, the sugar that we need to sustain. And after he got his back tore out, it was Nana who gave her life. Remember, she gave her life because she died after that.
Yeah.
She took everything in her power to heal him up.
Yeah, she knew she was going to pass.
And then the mother who, when he came to her and was like, "Yo, it's time I get to it," she wasn't on no baby please. She was like, "I'm with you." His wife, I'm with you. Everybody supported him. And that's the other aspect of the protection and the security is the suffering of being emasculated. you know, and feminization, you know, men not feeling strong and not having support. You know, that's part of it as well. And when the energies of the man and the woman interlock and interweave where they resonate with one another, where one is making one secure and the other one is nurturing and supporting and building and growing and developing, then nothing can penetrate that mesh of weaved essence that y'all have formulated inside y'allself. You know what I'm saying? So that is definitely a story that was told in that movie that was beautiful, because the women were there, they were strong, they stood by, the men stood up, you know, even though they had, you know, those other elements in there. That's why I said you got to really have that eye open so you can see, you know, what's transpiring, you know.
Yeah, I noticed one scene. It was when he went back to her and she was healing up properly, and he asked the first time he went to her and asked about where he was like, I want the names of who did this to him. I'm gonna take care of it.
Yeah, because he was all in his emotions. He was all in his emotions, and she shut him down and recited. Yeah. Right. Go ahead.
The scripture. Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It said the
right before that scene. Right before that scene, he was at the other plantation. And I think he was talking to a reverend or something, and he said God's will be enforced upon those to do evil or whatnot. And I think I'm seeing from his perspective as a writer and a director of the movie, he is subconsciously portraying his amending his actions consciously. Some of the things that he may have participated with.
Oh yeah,
he is trying to let the world or society, especially the melanated community, know. Look, I'm a god or whatnot. I'm a higher. I'm better than what this society is trying to portray as me. And then he went
most definitely.
And the second time she gave him permission, she was like, "Go." She said, "I had a premonition." Basically, she was intuitive about knew what he was about to ask.
Intuitive about it, and because of what he did. Remember, he created a meeting. He did the solar eclipse was involved. Like he went deeper. It wasn't just straight on I want to retaliate on a reaction tip. It was a manner of a plan.
Right.
Okay. And when you institute an actual plan, you're gonna get blessings. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to just being reactionary.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That is so much power in that movie. It moved the emotions, you know what I'm saying? Yet it's energy and motion that is being utilized. But if we're looking at it from just like the slave point of view or whatever we want to call slave.
Nah. He was not a slave. We got to get that out of our mind. He was like a prisoner of war,
right?
Kidnapped. Lots of the people that were here in this country were like snatched up from Louisiana and brought to Florida, or snatched from South Carolina and taken somewhere else, like to Texas or something. So they were shipping, you know, people around and getting them confused, but they were still on the same land. So you had mix up the tribes that occurred, you know, and then people born on tribes' property and things like that. So you had all this confusion going on at the same time. So while that's happening, you got people that got guns and bombs and dynamite and disease. Let's not forget the disease. Like, we think that they just sneeze and I just so happened to get strep throat from them. No, they knew what they had, and they specifically attacked us biologically. You know what I mean? Wiping people out that way as well. You know, we have to keep that in mind. So, you know, situation where this is about the railroad, you know, and I'm going to go more in detail in this in my presentation. Like I said, Saturday, October 22nd, you know, as the sun ingresses into Scorpio. Nate Parker is a Scorpio. Let's not forget the day that Nate Parker transitioned, when he said, "I'm ready," and went on to the Great Mother, was 11/11. 11/11. Okay, Dirty Bookman. He went out in November, you know, and then I'm going to tie this into something in November that's really going to knock people out their seats. Like I said, October 22nd, Saturday, Sankofa Life Center, Detroit, Michigan. Contact me at lovegreenlife@gmail.com, greenlife@gmail.com, KT the Arch Degree on Instagram, Kamani Tate on Facebook. Please contact me, holler at me.
For those of you who can't make it, is it going to be on video and will it be available?
Yeah, we're going to record it. And I'll come back on and do a follow-up, and we'll talk about the event and everything like that. But it'll definitely be available. I have a website, ktthearchdegree.com, and then in regards to my series, Hollywood Decoded, I have a website called Hollywood Decoded. So y'all can go there, and when DVD is done, it'll definitely be on that site. But y'all can check it out in the meantime. That's HollywoodDecoded.com.
Yes, indeed.
So there it is, brother. I hope I was able to give you a little something.
You did, and it's funny because I wrote down questions and you answered them before I could even ask you.
You had a chance to ask. See what I'm saying? That's how it go, man. That's how it go.
Yes, I did.
But yeah, man.
This is some good information, and most definitely, listeners out there, when we do go to these movies and we participate with that energy and motion, the motion picture. Remember, we do need a key. Just like any map, we need a key. We need a legend to follow to know exactly what they are talking about and trying to interplay to us from the external means. Sometimes it might look like it's, whatever, it's a murderous movie or whatever. It might be so dramatic, we crying through the whole movie. Like, brother said, I got to look into that too, cinematics. They're messing with our neurons, but, you know what I'm saying?
That's
so, This is a powerful movie. When they was in there and they got the brother and sister got married. They merged. The first marriage, not when Nat and what's her name, Cheriana got married. But when they got married, they were singing. I wrote it down. That you got a right to the tree of life. That's when I knew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, okay,
go. You talk about when Gabriel Union got married to the brother. When they jumped the broom?
Exactly. Yep, when they jumped the broom and they were singing, you got a right to the tree of life. And I was like, hold up.
And that's the key. That's
the tree of life. That's fine. Well, basically, that's us. That's who we are. We the life. We the tree.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
What we doing? We hugging the tree and that tree gone, you know what I mean? Even though it ain't right there, it's right there.
That's exactly why they hung us from them.
Yeah, strange.
That's exactly why they hung us from them. They hung us from them because they wanted us to be scared of the tree. They made us pick the cotton so we would be scared of the plant, so we wouldn't want food, clothing, and shelter for ourselves, and we would want to sustain ourselves. I don't know anybody who's black who come up studying cotton. Like, we all got that in our psychosis, like, leave cotton alone. We wear it, but we don't know anything about it or the industry, because of the history, and strange fruit. We all know what strange fruit is. So we're definitely disconnected from the tree because most people are involved in consuming flesh and animals or staying away from nature, not dealing with the plants anymore. It was a psychic attack to get us scared of the nature and the environment that we lived in. And Tree of Life. I'm really going to talk about the Tree of Life at this event, man, because, boy, yeah, it's going to be nice.
Don't say it, though. Don't say it. I definitely would like to be there. If I can, I will make it. When is the event? This weekend?
This Saturday the 22nd. That's right, featuring Syntex, which I implore everybody to check out right now. Y'all go on Instagram, type in SINTEX graffiti, and then my brother Asa is on there too, Asa El-Bey. And if you go on Instagram, you're gonna find a lot of his artwork, his murals that he's done, and they're just amazing. They're just amazing, and they tell a beautiful story.
I know you may be. I have one more question, and then cut it. But this, what you were speaking on with the cotton. You recall when the Reverend Benjamin, and Benjamin means in Hebrew, son of my right hand, or son of the South. The South represents, if I'm not mistaken, the pillar of Dakim again, the masculine energy. But he was up there. He remember he spit blood into nonetheless had to be in a white cotton handkerchief.
Right.
And then that's when they were introducing Nat into the church. But also right after that, the next thing that I recall, the dude he had passed, and they said that that was Benjamin Turner, the father of Sam Turner. He passed, and they said it would be best for him, Nat, to go back to the field, and then Nat pricked his finger.
And got blood on the cotton.
On the white cotton. Yeah. So
that's right.
What is the symbology behind that? I saw it. I was just like, what
that's exactly what I was talking about in regards to creating the fear through the plants. Why was he coughing into the cotton? Because he was sick, because he was cancerous, because he does not have the proper physiology to sustain what's inside this particular environment, right? Okay, the only way that he's going to be able to outlive somebody who does live in this environment is if you make that person disconnect from the environment that's going to allow them to proliferate and grow and stay alive. And you do that by creating fear with it. So him coughing the blood into the cotton and then dying and then switching him from the book, from the knowledge, from the wisdom, back to the field, where then initially he got pricked, he got cut. Yeah, he put the blood into the cotton. So he passed that, he cursed him. In essence, that was what the intention was,
And that just with the fear implementation with the blood, and that goes into our well, it's supposed when we view it. Okay, I didn't see the last part of the movie, the last 15 minutes. I heard that they caught Nat Turner, whatever. Well, I know the story, and then they hung him and everything from a tree and skinned him alive. Now. Skinned him and used his gristle for the grease for the carts. Exactly. And what's going on carriages. With melanin?
Now, this let me tell you something. You already know that's what they were talking about right here.
Exactly.
I actually have connected with some of Nat Turner's actual family. And I have some information that I'm going to be integrating into the presentation that I'm going to unveil that day as well. And they seconded he was never a slave. Like, the reason why I say is because I know it. I've heard from the family that he was not a slave. You know what I'm saying? It was a land situation, just like I mentioned. So I'm going to have more particular information when I break this down, and when the DVD's available and the video's available, everybody will be able to partake, in it. But I hate to cut it short, but I got a couple other things I got to do, and I'm getting ready for this thing Saturday. I hope I was able to provide, some keen insight, and I know you laid some beautiful groundwork at the beginning. So I look forward to rebreathing that also, because I know it's going to be archived by tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I'm going to work on it tonight, and then I'll probably put it up. It's going to be archived as soon as I close out, and I will put it on YouTube probably by tomorrow or on Thursday. It'll be up there on Dr. Arlene's page.
Perfect. So we're gonna do Saturday, October 22nd, Sankofa Life Center, specifically 18734 Woodward Avenue, Detroit, Michigan. You can reach out to me at luvgreenlife@gmail.com, Kalani Tate on Facebook, or KT the Arch Degree on Instagram for any further inquiries. And I want to thank you once again, brother, for having me on tonight. I wish I had more time because I got so many more points to cover. But, like I said, man, I'm going to be able to let it all out in a couple days, and it'll definitely be recorded for the people, okay?
Yeah, I thank you as well for, coming through and giving us some of that light and spending some time with us. And most definitely going to have you back on the flip after you do the event over the weekend, probably the week after next Tuesday. I'll get in touch with you and whatnot and let you know. And it's been an honor, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate you stopping by.
Honor's all mine, brother. Thanks for having me.
No doubt. Love is love. And I'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right. Peace.
All right. That was KT, the artist degree. Give thanks to the brother for coming through and really giving some of that input on. And like I said, he's a highly intelligent brother. More information is going to be brought to the table at that event over the weekend. And if you can make it, get there, and I'm trying to tell you, the first time I heard the brother speak, I checked out some of the YouTube, but seeing it live in the presentation right there in front of your face, and then, you know what I'm saying, he's speaking it, yeah, that brother got the spirit is with him, you know what I'm saying, and he's utilizing it properly, you know what I'm saying. He comes from a very prolific family when it pertains to metaphysics, health, and all angles of that reality, you know what I'm saying, the so-called conscious reality. The brother is beyond. He's a good brother, and I give thanks for him stopping by and really sharing some of that information, giving us some of that information tonight. It was very powerful what he was speaking on. You know, I didn't know that as far as the birth date of Nat Turner coincides with that with the Jubilee thing that they have going on and everything. That is, that's how this reality is. The ultimate reality is far greater in its potentiality, the power of this ultimate reality, the true reality. You know what I'm saying? What we're looking at is superimposed. It's like it's a veil. You know what I'm saying? It's something that we have to move so we can get through that curtain. And then there again, that's the Eden from Gala right there. So they covering up our spine basically, the conduing of that energy, that electromagnetic energy, to get back to where it's going properly. So it was a scene within the movie where Nat Turner initially met Chiriana, and she was in that on the wagon, and he opened up the wagon and he peeped through both. You know, so he was right there, the conduit of that energy, going to the other side, looking at through the partition of the veil of Isis, and seeing Isis. He was like, you know, he loved her. As soon as he met her, he knew that was his so-called like soul mate or whatever. That's those two energies connecting. You know what I'm saying? So the movie is very powerful metaphysically. You know, from a subconscious point of view, Nat Parker, you know, he may even be, the reincarnation of Nat Turner. And he wants to, convey that message to the melanated community that, we have different means of what we call technology. And if we use it properly with spiritual truths, then it can guide us back into our moral authority. You know what I'm saying? Moral authority. So when scientific knowledge and the applied technology reach that level of advancement without being informed by the spiritual truths or the spiritual ultimate realities, then what will take place is what's going on now, chaos, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. You got all these different, like the GMOs, we have these different, these things that they introduce to us, the chemtrails, these heart systems, these different vibrations of lower intent that are somewhat like evil, what we would call evil. Yet the Jews or this Judaistic template of power don't care about the evil or the good side of it. All they're really looking at is the power within it. So they would do anything to keep that power going, even give us a semblance of what truth is by way of the interpretation within movies. They funded the movie. Who owns Hollywood? Of course, Jews, whatnot, right? So they funded this movie, basically. And then they went, like the brother just put on the table, they went and they actually, it was a movie back in the day called, the Top 5 that Chris Rock was in. And KT was just breaking it down. I'm just going off the way he did, but in the movie, it came out in 2012, basically Chris Rock or whatever was a comedian, somebody was flopping out. He decided to make a realistic movie. It's called Dirty Bookman, or it's called Uprising, based on Dirty Bookman from the uprising in Haiti. But inside of that movie was another movie called Boo that was came out at the same time as Uprise, the movie that was basically a life story of Dirty Bookman. Came out at the same time. The Boo was with Medilla. Now, guess what movie just came out this year in real time or whatever? A movie called Boo with Medilla. And it's the same type of movie, which is basically Birth of a Nation just dropped. And it's going against Birth of a Nation. So Boo, and they say Birth of a Nation flopped or whatever in the theater. It may have, I don't know. $7 million for the first weekend, like the brother was mentioning, it's kind of low, but that just may be a number that they just threw out there, so catch our attention, say, oh, it ain't nothing worth to go through. But yet still, if you go in there and you look at this movie from a spiritual and from an intelligent point of view, and the emotions will get drawn into it. I did my emotions. The first couple of scenes, I was like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? It just opened up my eyes to, we study and everything, seeing the visual, and we didn't have the dreams too. So I know some of us have had the dreams of past lives and opening up those doors of the Akashic records or whatnot and seeing those solar memories maybe. So, you know what I'm saying? You up there and you see it from a different interpretation and seeing it from somebody else's point of view of their personality, how they may have went through those exchanges. Like I said, the brother may be Nat Turner on the reincarnate type thing or incarnate, like I gotta go back and let people know through technology what the spiritual truth is, so that we can regain the matriarchal type of authority, or have both energies interplaying properly on this planetary civilization, so that we can continue as who we are in its proper perspective. Not, the way it's looking right now, God is woman. God is the womb of man. You know what I'm saying? So the way it looks right now, the woman's mentality is so drawn to an outer perspective of an answer, whereas the woman is the nurturing truth of our reality. Without the woman, we wouldn't have math. We wouldn't have the lettering system or what we call literature. We wouldn't have none of the seven liberal arts. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't have anything that will be participating with beauty and bringing understanding and bringing about an order of or a system that is away from the aggressive nature or the linear mind of man, where we have to go about things. As far as the masculine energy is concerned, we go about things from that ABC. If I got so many wrongs, then that's what it's going to be. That is just going to be wrong. You know what I'm saying? And we're not trying to right it. We get used to substantiating our wrongs and saying it is right. And we always have an excuse. You know what I'm saying? So, but that woman, being authoritative and nurturing, she gives us a conclusion and an answer by the end of the day, saying, no, get up, we need food, we need clothes. I'm, going to lay down these laws, but you go out there and you take care of this. So when she gave him the heads up and was like, yeah, I give you permission, I prayed for an answer. I prayed for someone to come and help. That is showing how powerful, and like the brother was mentioning, it was a solar eclipse. When he looked up, and the other brother, I think his name was Isaiah, looked up, and they seen that solar eclipse. It's like, okay, and Isaiah means Yahweh is salvation. You know what I'm saying? So Yahweh is salvation is the same as Yahshua. Yahshua means there's salvation in God, or salvation in Yahweh. Yahshua is the Hebrew name of Jesus. And we go into the whole lineage of like Jocan and Boaz, then ties and relates back to Judah or Jedediah and Jesus or Yeshua being King David, and also Jedediah or Jacob. Jacob, let me get to my notes here. Jacob represents I mean, there's a lot going on with it. Jacob was is relating to Jakim, where Jakim means he will establish. But also, like Boaz, it's found it represents the bloodline. Boaz represents the bloodline of David, where you have Boaz meaning strength or swiftness also, and Jakim meaning he will establish. So Boaz was the son of Solomon, a descendant of Nashon, right? So when you go through the lineage, the pillar of Boaz represents the tribe of Judah due to the fact that King David, who is the great-grandson of Boaz, and from his bloodline there is Solomon, and then later came Jesus Christ. So therefore the pillar of Boaz represents the tribe of Judah through the bloodline of King David, then King Solomon, and down into Jesus Christ. And you can get the whole genealogy is in Matthew 1, chapter 1, verses 1 through 17, the whole genealogy of Jesus, or Yeshua, Messiah, or the Messiah age, the Christ consciousness age, where we are leaving the third dimensional type of reality going into the fourth density, or the third density going into the fourth density, where mind is more intact, and then we go into the fifth density, where mind and physical are intact, but where thought and the exactation of that thought is readily penetrated and then performed. So that's is basically the point of singularity. So the genealogy of Jesus or Yeshua, and that name Isaiah, you know what I'm saying? Basically all the names in this movie were biblical names. You got Simon, Isaac, Isaiah, Johanna, Abigail, Benjamin, Nat, Nathaniel. And all that's missing is Paul, Peter, and Ringo Starr. You have the whole cast of the Beatles, right? Or Capaldo, right? No doubt. But basically, you know what I'm saying? Oh, well, you want to look at the whole other lineage of how Jedediah and Jedi basically was three different priesthoods that's within the Old Testament. You have the priesthood of Jedediah, Jehoiada, and Jakim. All these three names are priesthoods that was within, like I said, the Old Testament. But the name Jedediah was only mentioned once in the whole Bible. And guess who mentioned it, and guess who was named Jedediah? Jedediah was given to Solomon by way of a prophet named Nathan. So Nathaniel means God gives. This is in 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 25, where Nathan named Solomon Jedediah, or also pronounced Bediah, which means servant of Yah. And again, what is the two pillars? Two pillars is one pillar is of strength and servitude, basically, and the other is of mercy and love. When we're speaking in the Kabbalistic Hebrew sense of Gevurah, meaning strength and servitude, and then Chesed, meaning love and mercy. So we're looking at what they call slaves or whatever, or servitude. But one something else that stood out to me inside the movie is towards the end when Isaac, and Isaac means he who laughs. Isaac was the house nigga or whatever, the one in the house and stuff. But he came out there and he said the God that they serve is a God of love. And then Nat Turner said also is a God of wrath. So there we have strength and severity again, dealing with Boaz meaning strength, but also because that Boaz is the left pillar, the feminine representation or representation. That's the dark, but also that's the feminine energy, the matriarchal energy, and then the right pillar being the pillar of strength, and that would be wrath, and that's Jakim. All right, so we have Matthew or Ma'at over here, and then we have Jakim over Matthew is again side. We're dealing with the Kabbalistic tree of life as well as the Potnativ and the Meta-Netta. So we have on the right-hand side, and this is super. That means we're going to flip it around to where the right arm, if I was looking in the mirror, would look like it's on the left-hand side, but you know what I'm saying, or whatnot. So this left arm is the feminine representation, whereas the right, and the left arm is representing, again, my eye. The right arm is representing what we call on the Potnatil, in the Meta-Netta, the book or the divine word is Harukati. Harukati is the fifth spirit, you know what I'm saying, and then Ma'at is the fourth spirit. So 4 and 5 equals 9, born in Haru, Ma'at Haru, Matthew. So these two hurricanes, these two spiraling, you know what I'm saying, cyclones going in opposite directions, they are unified yet against. You know what I'm saying? They have two different polarities, yet they correspond and they connect, or they unify and bring about harmony together. Haru mind. You know what I'm saying? And that's another aspect of the higher self in its resurgence back into its higher state of awareness and consciousness through those different exchanges of those two energies. So when we look at, again, going back into Boaz, before I don't want to just leave you out there, but so Jedediah is well, the name Jedediah was given to Solomon by Nathan, and that's only mentioned once in the Bible. So Nat or Nathan was a prophet. Nathan was a prophet again. They gave Solomon, who is Solomon, you know what I'm saying, the Temple of Solomon, the Temple of Man. They never did find any stone of the Temple of Man. So they say Nebuchadnezzar came through and burnt down everything, leaving no type of evidence that there was ever a Temple of Solomon. And we remember in the movie The Matrix showed what was the name of the ship? Nebuchadnezzar, right? And where was they going, though? To Zion. Where were they going in the birth of a nation? They were going to Jerusalem, the city of peace, the same as Zion, basically. Zion meaning the mountaintop, or the zenith, you know what I mean? But basically it's the same thing, the city of peace. They're going to another place to get weapons to battle the lower self, or to battle the enemy, you know what I'm saying, that has tried to take over the land, or the indigenous people. And what was one of the scriptures that the brother spoke, Nat Turner spoke, was he said, let thine enemy be God's enemy, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know what I'm saying, there's a lot going on in that movie other than, you know, just with the politics behind who wrote it, the politics behind the actors and everything. All that is in the playing together, yes. Yeah, the storyline, even if the brother didn't know what he was doing, you know what I'm saying, as far as like with the bloodlines of King, of Solomon, or basically the bloodline of Jesus, Yahshua being on the side on one side as far as Jakim is concerned. I mean Boaz is concerned. The Boaz is again. Let me get back to it. Boaz is the son of Solomon, and Solomon was the descendant of Nahshon, and Nahshon is the leader of the tribe of Judah during the years of the wanderings through the desert. So in the book of Ruth, it closes up with the genealogy of King David, who is the great-grandson of Boaz. And from that bloodline was born Solomon, and then later came Jesus. Again, Matthew 1, chapter 1 through 17. Now, all this is allegorical again. Remember, all this is allegorical, but you can check that out in Matthew or Mahaturu 1:17. And that equals 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 2 is 10, so that's completion, 1 is 0. All right, then you go into Boaz. Boaz, to denote strength as well as to do honor to the memory of the eminent ancestor of Solomon, that this pillar was called Boaz. Right, so in him is strength, which here may be applied to God, man, Boaz. But it generally alludes to the superior spiritual wisdom that which testifies of his godlike origin. So in him is strength. That's the masculine. I mean, that's the feminine energy, and the strength is coming from the feminine energy, though, because we come through from a woman, the womb of man. Yeah. What is I think one of the last statements that it was a scripture. No, he was actually speaking to the people. He said, our ancestors and unborn children rejoice. He said, we ain't dead, we are alive. He said, we are alive with the supernatural powers of God. We will straighten our backs against the ungodly. Straighten our backs. What's in our back? Our spine, right? So that spine, that conduit of energy, he said, within the supernatural powers of God, within Eden and Pagala, the left and right, the supernatural powers of God, we will straighten our backs, our spine. We will have that energy go straight back up our spine against the ungodly. So the different exercises that we'll be talking about, you know what I'm saying, I ain't fascinated with Qigong and Tai Chi and nothing like that. It's not something that I'm addicted to or something that I worship. It's just something natural. So we got them 3 N's again: natural, necessary, and normal. We find things that normal to be, every day, watching TV, everybody do it is normal, you know what I'm saying? Then we got things that's necessary that take the place of what's natural, because now that I've done so much of this other stuff, it's necessary to go to these other routes, so it's necessary for these other things to take place. But when we have what's natural, like breathing, taking place, then what will naturally take place externally, a beautiful reality. I mean, that tree there for a reason. They did, like the brother was saying, Nat Turner, they hung us from a tree called a strange fruit. Now we back away from fruit. Oh, hold on, fruit, give me that pig. They smacked us in with this whip, giving a whiplash. Now, why they call it the car accident whiplash? Anyway, so they slap us with this thing or whatever, and then they say, eat this slop and forget about your heritage, your natural self. Now, this is normal. This other stuff is normal now. And some people find it necessary. What you mean, don't eat meat? I got to get my protein. But naturally speaking, that is a normal reaction, But naturally speaking, what do we really need? What is necessary? So it has been a transition mentally. I'm going to have to look into that, what was called a neurokinematics. Because basically when we do operate under the spectrum or under the light of television, remember television, telling lies to our vision. Tell means to speak. Vision means it's a visual, something that we see. So that's auditory, speaking, and vision, seeing. So that's left and right brain activity. So if we are externally gaining that information and it's bridging into the left and right brain, they got us fixed on some type of, we can say a drug like the television. Just by way of just the title alone, we are fixed into a reality that is not necessarily our necessary or natural reality. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not, I don't worship Qigongs and all that stuff, but the Qigongs and bringing that energy back up properly and doing things like meditate, deep breathing, yoga, or whatever, tying both reality, yoga, comes from the Sanskrit word yuka, if I'm not mistaken, meaning to bring back together. So when we're dealing with religion also basically means the same thing. Breathe means to back or, again, and then legar coming from the Latin or the Greek to mean to tie. So to tie back. So there again is yoga. But when we're dealing with religion in the perspective of just basically the myth or the information and the ritual without the key or the metaphysics behind it, then we're just going to be caught up on that normal and necessary, not the natural. Because when we're dealing with religion, it means to tie back. So what are we tying back to? We're tying back to spirit. What is spirit? Spirit is Latin for breath, or, to breathe. So when we're tying back to spirit, we're tying back to the intelligence that brought us in the first place, that is always going to be within us. This is just a vessel, a vehicle. But when we lose touch of what's going on inside, then we lose touch of what's really taking place on the external. We believe what's going on the external is the true reality. So within that movie, it was a lot of information that was bridging those aspects of what the tree of life is as far as Kabbalah or even the META-MAJI is concerned. When I heard them sing in the song, "You Got a Right to the Tree of Life," I was like, whoa, hold on. You know what I'm saying? We got the right to travel, basically. You know what I'm saying? We got the right to be natural, basically. You know what I'm saying? So, once again, this is our take on this, how I see it from my own perspective. I know the brother's going to bring it this weekend in Detroit. He gave the information. You guys, if you can make it, I'm going to post this on YouTube. The archive's going to be there. Come and listen to it, get his information. Oh, yeah, as well as last week, I had the good brother Sufi on here, and a lot of what we were speaking on did not get. I had some audio difficulties, technical difficulties last week. So his email address, brother Sufi, is matabu. Okay, I'm just gonna. Is matabu Wazani at gmail.com. His email is matlabulfawzani at gmail.com. His number is 267-819-9232. You can get in touch with that brother. That would be his best contact. And forgive me for not having that on the information on there. There was a lot of questions that were cut in half. I was pressing mute on my phone, not knowing at that time that it was also pressing mute on his, because I didn't want the background to be inside of his answers and whatnot, where I was at home that day. So I was pressing mute, not knowingly. It was also pressing mute on his answers due to the fact that he was coming from Google Chat or whatnot, and I was on Blog Talk, so we had two different audio sources. But basically, that's how you can contact that brother right there. But if you're in Detroit over the weekend, check out the good brother KT, the art degree over there. He's going to be dropping it. I can imagine, he said he's going to come from every angle: cultural, ancestral, metaphysical, spiritual, and he really going to bring it, because he didn't give up too much of the ghost tonight, you know what I'm saying? He didn't want to sell himself. So as far as what the information he's going to be bringing this weekend, which I understand, so I had a few questions that he answered before I could even get him out, but that's how the intelligence moves. You know what I'm saying? It was good to be able to build with the brother and everything. I'm going to get Brother Sufi back on here, too, so we can get those other questions answered, because it really tied into everything else he was bringing to the table and part itself on that again. But, yeah, that movie, this movie, Birth of a Nation, talking about the indigenous people and how we have always had this interconnection with the land. We are here. We always been here. Like the first scene, they were, like the brother said, KT said, you can't tell if they were Africa or not. But I think the Hogan or the high priest or whatnot said he has the mark of the ancestors. He's like, this boy is he's been given a gift. Nathaniel again means God has given. You know what I'm saying? God has given a gift. So what is the gift? The gift of life, the gift of the tree of life, the gift of that energy. When utilized properly, you have all those abundant other gifts. The gift of prophecy, the gift of discerning between the spirits, all those gifts, you know what I'm saying? The gift of knowledge, basically, of understanding as well, and of wisdom. He had those 3 spots right there in the solar plexus, you know what I'm saying? That's representing, if we look at it properly, you know, defeating those lower demons, the 4 lower demons, then connecting at the heart to where the Haru going into, or Ab going into Sakim, and then Ku and Ba. Or basically, you know, the heart going back into the voice. From the abundance of the heart, the mouth or the tongue speaks. So Haru and Tahuti. When Haru, the light or you know, that active energy is utilized properly, the active energy also Harekutu or Kabbalah or strength. Harekutu and Haru is one of the main colors is red. Red is the active energy, but also red is the color of the root chakra or the lower base energy. So that red energy, the lowest color of the spectrum or the rainbow, is the one that we utilize a lot of in our activity throughout the day, the serotonin, you know what I'm saying? But when we can bring it back up to the heart level, midway point, that green, that natural color or whatnot, and when it comes back in to the heart realm or the solar plexus realm, then we have going into Sakim. Sakim is also the word of power within Washita language, with the Washita language is Shakim. It means chief, but basically that's the chief speaks words of power. You know what I'm saying? So Shakim or Sakim is a spiritual representation of how this energy of Haru, the light, comes up to the throat chakra or the parathyroid, the thyroid gland, and then when it's fused properly, gives off that wisdom, Tahuti. Then when it goes into the Ku, this area right here, that's the spiritual realm in exactation or the pituitary gland region. It reconnects that with the heart, and then the heart, the solar plexus region, where we have the thymus gland producing T cells for immunity, you know what I'm saying, for health, good health, goes back into the thyroid gland. So that energy, you know, the thyroid is very important. You got all the minerals that we need, and you know what I'm saying, or whatnot, it breaks down in there. You know, there's a lot going on with the thyroid gland. Then it goes back to the pituitary gland. Of course, there's a lot going on with that, the human growth hormone, all that. Then it goes into the pineal gland. And, of course, there's a lot going on with the pineal gland, all those other hormones and everything, melatonin being produced. So all these those 3 different things, that's going into a health perspective of life, the tree of life. You know what I'm saying? Health is not only just participating with the physical, it's participating with the spiritual. All of it is interconnected. So you have the spirit again that creates the mind. The mind creates the physical body. When there is a disconnect of body and spirit, then the mind go crazy. So when they told us that we were slaves and we came over here on ships and all that, that's the first disconnect. Then when they told us, you know, well, y'all were slaves, y'all came over here on ships, or well, y'all came over here on ships, or whatever. We came over here on ships, and then now we slaves. Then they start whipping us and tell us, this is what you got to believe. Now we got these external values that we believe in that is basically just given to us now. Here, everybody can have a phone. It's called the Obama phone. Obama means blessed, right? Or Baraka means lightning. Obama means blessed. So they bless us with this Obama phone. We're walking around saying, bless this phone. Give thanks to this phone. I mean, right now, give thanks because, yeah, we're corresponding in a higher reality, or ultimate reality. So give thanks to that. We bring in light, ultimate reality, you and R. You know what I'm saying? So that's light within the matter, or ma'at. So that the mother energy can be fused properly, mother, matter, you know what I'm saying? So ma'at, going back to ma'at haru. And what was her other name? Was Madison, right? Or the wife of the queen that she said, you can call me what you want to. He's like, you can call me, I'll call you queen. And I almost brought a tear to my eye. That was a tearjerker right there. But basically, her name was, it said Abigail, and he said, who Madison or whatever. But her name was Madison. That's the name that her mother gave her. But that's my aunt's son. So my aunt's son, or whatnot, son meaning And Meta means brother. Ma'at means, again, truth. So the brother of truth. So Madison is the brother of truth. You can look at it like that, or you can put the ET on it and make it Sonnet, making the sister of truth. But when balancing both realms, because Ma'at also means balancing, or Ma'ati means to balance both sides. All right, so if we're looking at it like that, the balancing of the brother. You know what I'm saying? So the brother came in, Nat Turner came in and balanced some of that chaotic situations that was taking place in the South at that moment, and due to the frivolities of you know, the European, but also how the South was starting to deplete because, like brothers mentioned, the railroads is coming in, so they're going into the industrial age and they're starting to move up top. So they don't need so-called the indigenous people, or the slaves, what they call them, but the indigenous people to work the land as much. And the indigenous people, it was less of them because a lot of us was starting to migrate to the north. So they had less workers, and you know, and a lot of the workers was getting disgruntled because they had more work. You know, so the movie really moved the emotion somewhat, you know what I'm saying? But the energy and motion rise when it uprises properly, you know what I'm saying? So do some more research on it yourself as far as Joker and because remember, Joaquin was a hurricane last year, October 3rd to the 5th in South Carolina. This year we got Matthew, you know what I'm saying? So we are dealing with these so-called elite, the littles, that are dealing with rituals, our ancient ways, you know what I'm saying, of right. Our rites of passage. Ritual means a rite or writ, you know what I'm saying? So, like he was saying, what do? They write scripts. You know, it's a written script. So, like when we write affidavits, we have to go in there and rewrite these affidavits and take them to these courtrooms so that they know that their ritual ain't working. We have to have something to, you know, pretty much counterbalance that lower end what they're trying to do as far as keeping us in control, and we have something to counterbalance that with our truths, our affidavits, you know, our words of truth. So affidavit, you know what I'm saying, David, you know, of David. Af means of, basically, of David. David means the beloved son, you know what I'm saying? All right, so of the beloved son, even if it's an allegory, who is the beloved son? The beloved son is the Moor, or is the black man, basically. It's us, you know, the indigenous people, the people of color is the beloved son. Now, they ain't just going to come out and say, you know, this is y'all's land, y'all can have it back. No, they don't want that. They want, I mean, as far as like a civil upheaval or something like that, like the movie Purge was basically trying to portray, you know, where people just going out and doing stuff like that. But purge means to purify. You know what I'm saying? So don't look at it in a way of murder or whatever. We have to purify from within. So things on the external will also be purified as well. And if it may get to that point to where what is polluting our internals has to come out in a chaotic way. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what's taking on in media and all these other things that's been taking place with police brutality, yeah, we have a threshold that we can only go so far, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is now. Is that going to take place? Is it going to be uprising? Is it going to be some type of physical upheaval or civil unrest where we, you know, that's yet to be seen? You know what I'm saying? What's natural, what's normal, what's necessary. You know what I'm saying? We can look at it in all different angles. You know, it's been a blessed night, though. A blessed. You know, we're not dealing with the blood on the wall, though. But everything is everything, you know what I mean? So we're just going to keep it moving. I enjoyed the bill with the brother, the KT, the arts degree. Going to bring him back in a couple of weeks to get the other side of the information. You know, he said he's going to bring it. You know, I know I touched on the tree a little bit, but from my own perspective, like I said, I just got these notes tonight. I thought about Matthew and Joaquin. I spoke on Joaquin last year in one of the blogs and how it relates to the tree of life, or as far as that hurricane was called Joaquin, I think is the Spanish derivation, and then, looking into it and researching and seeing how it did correlate with Jakim or Yakim as far as Yahweh has established, and that being the father of Mary, and then also how that goes into the being Mary being the mother of Jesus in the bloodline or whatnot involved in that. And we all know who the bloodline is us. It's us in general, It's indigenous as the individual to do itself. That's the entirety of the universal planetary system, all things are, so we're going into Christ consciousness, and that would be the sixth dimension, basically. So as we are progressing, into ourselves and transitioning and all these things are taking place physically, externally, we do have to have a better grasp of who we are by way of information. Some of the information ain't necessarily good information. So much going on. It is the information age, the crazy age. So some of this information is out here is not necessary. It's normal, but it's natural. So we should always look at what is most definitely natural. Natural goes back to Natir. So like the mop, when we talk about Medu Natir, we get the word natural or nature from Natir. Natir means divine, So when we're dealing with what's divine, what's holy, we're dealing with what's godly, We're dealing with what's righteous, nature, These ancient words, if we go back into our etymon or our etymology, instead of just dealing with the connotation of how it is delivered to us, then we will see answers. We will see ancestors. We will see our lineage. We will see our truths. And we will see how we can collectively come together as one and defeat these external demons. But as long as we do agree with certain circumstances, then it's going to be what it's going to be. And that agreement, that collective agreement is why the tree is over there and we over here. We need to be hugging that tree, right? That tree is taking in all that carbon dioxide and converting it to oxygen. That interplay is right there for a reason. We are spitting out those toxins, and that tree is inhaling it, and it's changing it and giving us life. So that tree of life, So that's going on within us at all times and without us at all times, as above, so below. Moving earth, light, and water. Move water, earth, light. So we need to really be putting light and water into our tree. That's all that tree needs. There's a little sunlight, a little water. That's it. And it's going to survive. What make us so much different? If it's taking in our toxicity and we take in this toxicity and we live off of the oxygen, it can't live off the oxygen. It takes it in, breathes it back out. It takes in the carbon dioxide, converts it to oxygen. We take in the oxygen, convert it to carbon dioxide. Right? So that's an exchange to what's going on right now. We are those trees. We strange fruit or whatever that's hanging from the trees, but not in the sense that they tried to give to us as far as the Willie Lynch syndrome is concerned. This is eugenics at its best. This is the changing of our genocide at its best too. It's the changing of our genetic coding by way of fear in place of love. The spirituality. The spirit is breath again. When we breathing properly and we loving ourselves. And if we can love ourselves, then we can love everyone externally as well. It has to be a balance, though. There must be a balance in all things, and that's where that Ma'atian type of perspective comes into play, and where chaos is pretty much balanced by order. Chaos is creation. Chaos is what's taking place at all times. We're looking at chaos like it's something disorderly, but chaos turns into order in each given breath when it's done properly. So I'm going to go ahead and close out. Like I said, it's been a blast. Get it going for tomorrow. Get some things right. And I'll see you on the flip. We'll leave out with a couple of tracks because it's the Nagas right here. So good thanks, and see you guys in a couple of peace, prosperity, protection, and good health.
to the gods. You already know, man. Yo. Bohemian wizardry, you fraud MCs be killing me. The enemy is close, we both lies on our identity. I build like he who stepped, architect like Imhotep. Son had the sun himself, the God deadly with the art. I spit dark with a slit heart. You can feel it in your bone marrow before the shit starts. Standing in the cold with a scroll that was written in gold. Behold the old glimpse that was never untold. Infinite like the 8-7 dwelling in your melon. No felon, though the unrighteous say that I'm rebellious. I'm primal, my rhyme suicidal. I worship no idols. My style a load of gems going down in a spiral. You stuck in your root. My intelligence past my cool. The God is the truth. Every time I step in the booth, you stepped on the stoop. Got scooped and swooped in my loot. Do the knowledge, whack them seeds, get played like flu.
In which the son of us are, a gift from the gods for rule, flying through the sky with golden wings. Submerged into the light, knighted by the golden king with the scepter of justice. Melanin cultivating chi until we are Ethereans, brightly becoming one with the righteous sun. Solar, souls are raw, magnificent glow with unconditional love. Scattered rays for days from the heavens above. Soul below, the souls is trapped in the lowest depths of hell, incarnated into 76 trillion cells. To break free, we must be refined, masculine and feminine properties combined.
The devil is the author of confusion. 183,000 divisions of religions, denominations, sects, codes, schisms, and isms. Though isn't it written in the Bible that Jesus spoke in parables? The scriptures and gospels aren't just historical. Many passages weren't meant to be taken literal. Most of it is allegorical, based on esoteric principles. Baptist versus Methodist, Pentecostal holiness versus Jehovah's Witness, Mormons versus Seventh-day Adventists, skeptics, atheists, and agnostics, divine and cosmic tactics of the reptilians, lower fourth-dimensional aliens. So beware of the draconian Satanists. Yo, they aim to imprison all true beings through ignorance. Yo, we crush the head of Leviathan. Battle mind control, subliminal suggestions, brainwashing indoctrinations, using religions, politics, education, economics, health and labor, entertainment and war. Yo, sex and law. In this chessboard game, cool like we've all been pawns. Puppets on strings controlled by demonic spawns. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God.
Yeah, ATD, above the dome, trap of freedom, of family, tradition, heritage, the missing links, spiritual miracles, the awakenings, the walking sphinx, it's time to eat, food for thought, it's the META-MAJI-SHEN, holy rainwater, flows off my altar, channel through the seasons, elevate the reasons. What's the purpose of life to the living, death to the conscious? At the end of days, clash of the titans, zombies running rampant, Christ in the pamper, looking for a lamp, revving at the church, plugging in the amp, rock of the ages, son of the undead, vamping, immortal rage. I bleed red ink on the page, words and truth, no signature, to the blur. From invisible literature, sitting at the dock of the bay with Otis, having rituals, turn the lights off, it can get real quick, sir. Melting pot mix, I'm in search for a fix, walking backwards, looking forwards, patiently waiting, don't ignore it, holding true swords like peace signs aimed at your board. Want to be caught in the trap of freedom. Want to be lost in the trap of freedom. To light, walk into flight, hawk eyesight, interdimensional terabytes, fuel for the journey, some late a fuel for the gurney, colored in the book of law, no need for attorneys, I turn the page, feel the script like a doctor coming out the cage, I'm the lion, fed grain, sticks and stones, no pain, or workers only workers gain, attempting to keep my inner sane, with lifestyle changes, highs and mountain plains, 7 thoughts,
7 vaults, no faults, who's to blame? It ain't the same, they take your names. I feel the sun, it ain't no fun if the homie can't have none. I see you run like Hussein, like none. It seems frightening, exciting. I go with streaming lightning. I'm the Nick and Logan at night.
You want to be caught in the trap of freedom. You want to be lost in the trap of freedom. You want to be caught in the trap of freedom. You want to be lost in the trap of freedom.
Yeah, time, space is obsolete. Locate the unlocal, way above yet so below. The permanency of non-movement, ATV, above the dome, trap of freedom. Black water, the META-MAJI-SHEN. Mad science is on the track. Peace.